to be optimistic about tomorrow and what tomorrow brings. So one statistic that speaks volumes, and not only does it speak volumes to who this person is, but it speaks volumes to where the people are in Lebanon, is the fact that he got over 11,000 votes for the Shuf Alayr. 6,000 of those votes were Druze. 5,000 of those votes were Christians. So you ask yourself, when in Lebanese history did someone get 5,000 votes from a different religion? And it's unheard of. So why is he different? And the reason why he's different is because he is pounding the pavement. He's knocking on doors. It's the grassroots progressive movement to a better tomorrow. He's not from a traditional political party that we hear every single day. And the traditional political parties, they were founded after the Civil War. And you know what? I fought for you, I protected you, you protected me. That's the mentality of yesterday. And what we're pushing for tomorrow is hope for a better country, someone that's fighting for all of Lebanon, not a particular sect within Lebanon. So with great power comes with great responsibility, and now he has that great responsibility. So I'm gonna leave it to Mark, and I'm sure he's up for it based on everything that I've heard. I've contacted people, I've looked them up, I've listened to interviews. I contacted a good old friend of mine, Joseph, and I was like, Joseph, tell me a bit about Mark. He's like, Niall, he's different. I was like, Joseph, well, you've covered many stories, because I knew Joseph was in PR and still is. He's like, he's different. You know what? And that's what we want. If we want a different Lebanon, we want someone that's different. So everyone, welcome Mark.
Thank you everyone for coming. This is really an absolute pleasure to be in contact with all of you, despite the distance, despite where we are, each of us. But I think there's always a large space which is in common. It is the idea, it is the history, it is that passion, it is that powerful story that unites us. A story of a country that's been there for 6,000 years and continues to produce great cultures, great ideas, people who succeed, people who do great food, obviously, and we continue to have our own challenges. I'm coming now not only because of the dire situation in Lebanon. I'm not coming here just to call for help. I think you're all aware of that. But I'm coming here to say something is changing in Lebanon, and it already has changed. In the past election, when we ran for that election, no one expected any people who are from outside the traditional club to be able to muster campaigns in 15 out of 15 districts, to be able to present candidates who got hundreds of thousands of votes. No one expected the results where we became the second biggest bloc. The change movement got the second biggest bloc of votes all across the country, about 300,000, with 13 MPs, 10% of parliament. Not only that, in several districts, including a district where I ran, we came in first position, crossing everyone else. But then the unique thing about that win was, when it came to the diaspora vote, our list got 52% of all those who voted. Everyone else, including all the political parties that have been infighting among each other for the past 50 years, all in total, on top of each other, got 48% versus one change list that got 52%. And that vote of confidence that came from the diaspora is basically saying, guys, the world has moved on. We want Lebanon to move on as well. And it is people like you who voted and drove in big numbers, who trusted that change is possible in Lebanon, are the people who gave us hope that we should put that effort and the dedication and try our best to make a difference in Lebanon. Not because it's just our duty, not because the country has a great history, but I think because the country has a great future. Because what we've been going through since the Civil War is coming to a close. Whether it's the rhetoric, whether it's the narrative, whether it's the practice of politics, even the economic system, which has completely disintegrated due to the worst policies that we've got. All of this is disintegrating, and we have to build fresh. Building fresh means getting in new ideas, getting in new people. think that is what has been ushered through the previous election in 2022. It's basically saying things started to change seriously. In the next elections and the ones that come after, I don't think anyone is going to go back. We will not turn back time. People will continuously be looking for the new and different options. Because the entire region where we are from, you look at Dubai, you look at Qatar and the World Cup, you look at Expo, you look at the opening up in Saudi Arabia, you look at the developments that are happening in technology all across the world. Most importantly, you look at the massive potential we have through one of the biggest networks of the diaspora that links back to the country. Lebanon's economy today is 40% of its incomes come from expats sending remittances. About 9 billion out of a GDP of 25 billion. That means those expats are 40% of what we produce and what we do and how we live and consume in Lebanon. So if we start linking those ideas from abroad, the reformist ideas, with the reformist movement in Lebanon, then we have enough power, we have enough force to basically say the time for change has come. People in 17th of October 2019, they came out in their millions to the street. They took over the entire landscape in unity all across the country. They gave a new message, basically saying the Civil War front lines no longer represent us. And they said, we can all carry one flag, and we can all chant and sing to the same song, the same vision for a country that is away from sectarianism, a country that is fair for its people, a country that protects the rights of its people. And that is exactly the wave and the momentum that helped us reach positions of power, not only in parliament, but in university elections. We're sweeping most university elections. We're sweeping syndicates and unions. We're creating new organizations that are tackling development and working in institutions. We're starting to see an entire ecosystem built around new blood, about people who want transparency, who want to build for a future, who are talking more of values that are reflective of the human rights attachment, of not separating between people based on faith, and making sure that there is an institution that we can all call a state that protects us. Because the biggest challenges we have now are fundamentally the militia of Hezbollah, which continuously dominates security issues in Lebanon and does not answer to the Lebanese government. And the second one is the banking mafia and all of those who benefit from big monopolies that dominate 40% of the economic sectors in Lebanon. And those mafias have continuously benefited from government contracts, government licenses, monopolies over various sectors, and have bought up a lot of interest in the banks. That's why your money, our money, everyone's money was lost in the banking crisis. This is why the government is broke, the central bank is broke, the banks are broke, and government-owned enterprises like the electricity company are broke. The World Bank issued a statement, a study that basically said the biggest national Ponzi scheme, which is Lebanon, was conducted and it took all the funds of everyone because it was financing a corrupt system. It was financing a system that could not progress. And I think that is the biggest fight we have to do, because we have to return those funds to their owners, the depositors. We have to return to public services and undermine the corrupt system and the monopolies that dominate that country. And most importantly, we have to regain the role of the state in protecting all of its citizens through the army, through the official institutions, because that is the only place and the only solution for all of us to find a state that is responsive to the demands of its people and that is capable of applying those demands based on a parliamentary democratic process. So what we've been doing for the past 8 or 9 months is pick up fights on every level within government, in different institutions. We're fighting to protect the investigation in the 4th of August explosion. There was a coup d'etat among the judges. We stormed the Justice Palace. We formed protests. We are picking up that topic. I came to DC, I'm talking about that, about the need to protect justice in Lebanon, to protect the judges, so we hold people accountable for their failures. Second, We're working with a lot of economists, meeting with the IMF, the World Bank, and others to find solutions for the banking crisis. So we return to a regular banking system, a system that you can invest in and work in and allow businesses to flourish in Lebanon. Most of the industrialists in Lebanon now have open bank accounts in Dubai, in Cyprus, and other countries because they can no longer work with Lebanese banks. So we are doing those fights on every single level, in addition to supporting the local communities who are going through terrible times. 2 hours of electricity a day out of 24. Nevertheless, people have installed 500 megawatts of solar panels and alternative energy, but that is only from people's pockets, those who are capable. Now we're talking to USAID, we're talking to the United Nations Development Program, we're talking to the European Development Program to intensely invest in alternative energies in Lebanon. Because the more we reform, the more we allow people to be independent and be capable of handling their own issues in their villages, in their towns, and that would give all of us the advantage of seeing progress accumulated on top of each other without having to depend on special favors or calls to those in power, or even trying to get the sectarian compromise which usually splits every reform into bits and pieces so people don't benefit from it. Anyways, not to take too long from the delightful Lebanese food we're gonna have, I again want to thank you, and I want to call upon you for one thing. In Lebanon, we're missing transparent, structured institutions that will allow us to rebuild that community effectively, whether we're supporting a school, a university, sending people to college. Those institutions are badly needed, and we're working locally to build them up, to open bank accounts for them, to get them well-trusted auditors, to give them good governance, good systems, so they evolve. But we also need institutions among the expatriates to be able to do a parallel work from the outside to the inside. Because on the inside alone, the reformists cannot do it all. And on the expat side, they need trusted partners so they can work. So I'm asking if we can all work together on this specific thing. Let's build institutions in the US, in Dubai, in Brazil, wherever there are Lebanese communities, and let's link those institutions with trusted institutions. We're willing to help do that. I am not asking for any sort of funding. I'm not fundraising for a campaign. My campaign is done. What I'm here to do is I want to make sure we build solid links which are sustainable between local institutions and institutions abroad, so we have a long-term process of change, because this is not going to be short-term, but we started in this new phase. And this new phase will reflect the aspirations of the youth who are battling for their lives, for the opportunities they should have in Lebanon without having to leave their country. We're just talking about people who left in the 70s and the 80s. Now we're talking about people who are leaving in the 2020s because of the crisis. But after the 80s, we had 90s, people came back, we rebuilt, we had some good opportunities in the country. And after what we're going through now, we're going to have good opportunities and the country would recover. But we need to be ready for that. We need to make sure our education system still produces good qualified individuals. We need to make sure that there are strong links that are bringing the Lebanese together. And from there, I think Lebanon will be very capable of recovering. Again, this is a country with 6,000 years of history. 5 difficult years will not stop that long history. And a long series of success, which I'm sure many of you are reflective of, will continue to evolve and develop and give us all hope in what's happening in Lebanon. Thank you a lot for your time, and it was a pleasure being here, and I hope I come back again soon. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.